Better to stand alone in strength than to walk with someone who secretly weakens you. Most people fear being single. They think it's emptiness, loneliness, failure. But the Stoics saw it differently. They warned us that the chains we choose are the hardest to break, and the truth is, many people enter relationships not from love, but from fear. Fear of silence, fear of facing themselves, fear of discovering who they really are without a distraction. But here's the paradox. Staying single is not weakness, it's power. It's the season where you sharpen your mind, reclaim your time, and build unshakable self-worth. It's where you protect your energy, master your emotions, and learn that true love can only come from freedom, never from fear. In this video, we'll uncover 10 Stoic truths about why staying single might be the most powerful decision you'll ever make. And by the end, you'll understand that solitude isn't your enemy, it's the forge where your inner peace, spiritual discipline, and high-performance mindset are built. So, if you've ever felt pressured to rush into relationships just to avoid loneliness, stay with me, because after today, you'll never look at being single the same way again. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself why so many people rush into relationships on the surface? They say it's because of love, but if you look deeper, you'll see something else: fear. Fear of silence. Fear of being left alone with their own thoughts. Fear that if no one is there to validate them, they will collapse into emptiness. This is what the Stoics called self-deception. Marcus Aurelius once warned, "The chains we choose are the hardest to break." And many of those chains come disguised as romance, comfort, and stability. People say, "I'm in love," but often what they really mean is, "I'm terrified of solitude." Think about it. How many times have you seen someone stay in a relationship that clearly drained them? They ignored the red flags, excused toxic behavior, and convinced themselves that suffering was proof of love. But the truth is, they weren't holding on to a partner, they were holding on to their fear of being alone. Here's the danger when you fear being alone. You'll accept almost anything just to avoid it. You'll trade your peace for chaos, your self-worth for validation, your time for someone else's comfort. And little by little, you lose yourself, not because the other person stole you, but because you gave yourself away to avoid silence. The Stoics believed that freedom was the highest good. Freedom from desire, freedom from dependency, freedom from the emotional chains that keep us enslaved to other people's moods and opinions. And nothing challenges that freedom more than a desperate relationship. Imagine this: you're in a house with a leaking roof. Every day, water drips in. Instead of fixing it or walking out, you keep rearranging the furniture to avoid the mess. That's what many people do in relationships. They keep shifting themselves, bending, compromising, trying to make it work. Not because it's right, but because they're afraid of walking away. But here's the truth: choosing to stay single is not a loss. It's a shield. It's the decision to say, "I will not trade my peace for someone else's drama. I will not chain myself to someone who doesn't value me." Being single gives you the clarity to see people for who they truly are. You're no longer blinded by need. You start to notice who respects your boundaries and who constantly crosses them. Who brings peace into your life and who thrives on chaos. Who values you as a person and who only uses you as a resource. And that clarity is priceless, because when you're no longer desperate for love, you become harder to fool, harder to manipulate, harder to break. Seneca once wrote, "If you would be loved, love yourself." And that begins with understanding that solitude is not punishment, it's preparation. It's the forge where you sharpen your emotional intelligence, strengthen your psychological boundaries, and build the kind of self-worth that no one can take away. So the next time you feel pressure to rush into a relationship just to avoid loneliness, remember this: solitude is not your enemy. The wrong relationship is. Chains that look like love are still chains. And breaking free begins with the courage to stand alone, unafraid, and untouchable. Time is the one currency you can never earn back. Lose money, you can make more. Lose status, you can rebuild. But every hour you waste is gone forever. And nothing wastes more time than being tied to the wrong person. The Stoics warned us about this long ago. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Think about how much time is lost when people cling to relationships out of fear. Endless arguments, silent treatments that last for days, waiting for calls, waiting for apologies, waiting for someone to finally give the love they promised. Days become weeks, weeks become years, and suddenly you look back and wonder, what did I actually build for myself during that time? When you're single, none of that applies. Your time belongs fully to you. You don't have to explain why you're working late. You don't have to justify why you'd rather read a book than go out. You don't have to negotiate every hour of your weekend. Your minutes are your own, and that's one of the most powerful freedoms you will ever experience. Most people don't realize how expensive a wrong relationship is. It's not just the emotional cost, it's the cost of your focus. Every time you spend a night in conflict instead of creating, every time you spend a morning recovering from an argument instead of training, every time you spend your energy fixing someone else's chaos instead of building your vision, you pay with your future. Being single allows you to redirect that energy. You can invest your time into sharpening your skills, building your health, strengthening your discipline. You can wake up early, chase your mission, and own your schedule without compromise. This is why so many people who thrive in solitude often leap years ahead of those trapped in toxic relationships. Imagine two people. One spends their nights in fights, scrolling through old messages, begging for clarity that never comes. The other spends their nights in silence, reading, studying, training, building. Fast forward 5 years. Who will be stronger? Who will be freer? Who will be closer to the life they actually want? The answer is obvious. But here's the paradox. Most people waste their time because they don't value it. They treat their hours like cheap currency, giving them away to anyone who asks. But when you stay single, you're forced to see the true worth of your time. You start guarding it like gold. You stop wasting hours on people who don't respect you. You stop apologizing for prioritizing your growth. You stop trading your minutes for validation. And here's something deeper: time wasted in the wrong relationship doesn't just delay your progress, it reshapes your identity. You slowly become someone you never intended to be. You compromise on dreams. You silence your voice. You bury your potential. All because your time was hijacked by someone who didn't deserve it. That's why the Stoics insisted on radical responsibility. If your time is being wasted, it's not just their fault, it's yours for allowing it. The chains you accept, you carry. But when you choose solitude, you reclaim every second. You can build momentum. You can create systems. You can carve out a life of purpose instead of a life of compromise. So guard your time. Treat it as your most precious possession, because it is. And every hour you spend on yourself, on your growth, on your mission. That is an hour invested, not wasted. And the truth is this: it is far better to spend your time alone, building something real, than to spend it entangled in the wrong attachments. Time is the foundation of freedom, and when you choose to stay single, you protect that foundation with unshakable clarity. When you strip away the noise of the world, no relationship drama, no constant negotiations, no emotional roller coasters, you are left with the most important battlefield yourself. And that is where real mastery begins. The Stoics believed that the highest form of freedom was not political, not financial, not even physical. It was mastery over the self. Epictetus said it plainly: "No man is free who is not master of himself." Most people never reach this level because they are too distracted. They are busy fixing someone else's chaos, managing someone else's moods, carrying someone else's burdens. Their energy is divided, and divided energy never builds strength. When you're single, you remove that distraction. You have a rare opportunity to put all your focus on shaping the kind of person you want to become. This is not loneliness, it is training. It is a boot camp for your soul. Think about it. You can wake up early without being pulled into arguments from the night before. You can set routines that build strength: exercise, meditation, deep work without compromise. You can confront your fears, insecurities, and weaknesses without someone distracting you from them. And this is the truth. Self-mastery requires silence. It requires stillness. You cannot hear your own mind if you are always listening to someone else's